Hey everyone. This is the second Build Businesses on JavaScript podcast episode from like the first one which I did about a year ago. Um, so I'm really happy to be doing this one, and I have here a guest who I've admired his work with. It's a sort of like a very interesting project, and I've seen his consistency over the years, and he has a ton of background, in what he's doing. So we're just going to talk about my guest, what he's been building, the businesses, of course, we're going to talk a bit about code because there's JavaScript in there, but mostly businesses, right? So let's meet this guest. How you doing, Cameron?
Good. Thank you, Kelvin. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being guest number 2. And so, firstly, you have to introduce yourself. So you tell us who you are, for those who don't know you, what you've been doing. And very importantly, I've been doing this in my other um, podcast, Teach Kevin Your Thing. You have to tell us a fun fact about you, to like lighten the mood. It's a fun fact. So after you're done introducing yourself.
Okay, so I'm Kamran. I'm the founder of Roadmap.sh. I have been doing a lot of open source work. Open source is how I got into this field, and then I'm in the industry for the past 10 years. Most of my experience has been with startups. Since 2022, I've been working on Roadmap.sh full time. And yeah, fun fact about me, I'm not sure. I would say that German. So I've been to Germany 2 times. So Germany is a beautiful country. I mean, I like that how close it is to nature. I
Mhm.
went there in 2017. I moved there for a job. I wanted to stay there and work from there, but I couldn't learn German, so I moved out of there. Then I tried again in 2019, I think 2020. I thought this time
Mhm.
I'm going to stick. I'm going to learn the language, and I'll be there. But again, I was
Mhm.
back again. So yeah, that's a fun fact. I mean, I couldn't learn German, so
That is fair, understandable. I've tried my best to learn Spanish because I love the language so much. No good. I've been trying for years to get like the basic, it's still not working. So I don't know. I feel like learning the new language is sort of very interesting, and I will always really surprised how most people pick it up, but it's just haven't been me.
yeah,
It
same for
doesn't work
me. I
for
mean,
me.
I've got
Yeah,
two small kids. I mean, I was looking at them like, how do they learn the English or how do
yeah,
they learn the language? And then I learned from
hmm
them. I don't
yeah,
know. Yeah.
yeah. I just feel like I feel kids, I don't know, probably, growing up, they probably have like this. It's easy for them to just, learn and just hear you speak and you speak stuff and they get it. So I think probably for people like us who as adults can't really pick up a new language, we would be better off learning as a kid or something because it's not working as an adult. It's
Yeah. I think now
uh,
one thing that I think they do is they start with the vocabulary, because I look at my daughter,
mhm,
for example, when she wants to eat something, she would
okay.
say, eat, hungry. So she doesn't make up
Yeah.
the full sentences. So maybe like as an adult, start with the vocabulary. I mean, this could help. But I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not going to go to Germany again just to see like if I like German or not. So yeah.
Right? Uh, yeah, it's okay. Don't worry. Maybe someday. All right, maybe. So, thank you for sharing the fun fact. I love it. And so you say you have over like a decade of experience working with startups and scale ups. So before that decade, like what's your origin story in terms of like how did you get started with this wild wild world of building things and telling the computers what to do? What's your background, your origin story? How did you get into code?
So most people say like I used to like programming since I was 5 years old, 6 years old. So I don't have a super inspiring story like that. So I got into
Mhm.
IT because when I was applying for the university degrees, I mean computer science, we're talking about 2010, 2010. I was not able
Mhm.
to get admission into any. So I wanted to do electrical engineering, but I was not able to
Okay.
get the admission in there. So that's why like I applied for computer science, and I got the admission there because the merit was super low, and I got in, and that's how I got into the ID. Before that, I mean, I was playing games. I was like doing some design work just for fun, but nothing about programming, for example. So that's how I got
Mm.
into this field. I graduated from a small university back in Pakistan,
Mhm.
uh, and most of my learnings have been on the side. So I started learning when I was there. So I was like I started learning, and then I found out like I have a passion for this learning programming, and like just the idea of building something and then seeing it in your front. So I mean, it was super super interesting for me. So I just started learning, and I learned a lot of different things. So I started with, in the beginning, C sharp at that time. Then I learned
Mm-hmm.
about, I mean, the form, like, C sharp forms, so building the
Yeah.
applications in C sharp. So this
Yeah.
one, and then I was just doing random things like game development. I picked up Android development, the graphics designing, After Effects, and all this stuff. So that's how I got in there. Like from 2010 to 14, this education era that I had, this was all learnings and just building
Mm-hmm.
small things, fun projects, and so on.
Mm. Amazing. Like I just like the randomness in everything you say. Like it wasn't a choice for you. At first, you wanted to do electrical engineering, and then you got into computer science. Like, and now you are actually enjoying what you're doing. I think that was the whole idea of building stuff and telling the computers what to do was what fascinated me. Mine, I stumbled upon it at a young age, but I started doing it professionally 2018. But before then, I've been tinkering Bash script, Python, the old jazz. I was one of those um, monsters that were coding in Notepad, not Notepad plus plus, like Notepad itself. And it was kind of interesting to like just like I remember just setting the background color in HTML of a website and it changing. It's interesting. Like, okay, this thing work. It's just fun, right? So
Yeah, I
that's a
remember.
good. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, it used to be like I used to also build like, in 2010. I think I made the first
Mm-hmm,
website that I did like while I was in university for a small company that was there, a small local company, and I
mm-hmm,
like we've came a long way. Like at that time, used to be simple tables in there. Like you have to use the image as sprite sheets, for example. You have to
mm-hmm. The
slice the
sprites, yeah,
images and use the images in there, like slicing and all that stuff. So it was completely
yeah,
different from what it is today.
mm-hmm.
So it was, I
Yeah.
mean, fun time.
It
Things were
is. It is.
simpler. Yeah,
Yeah, things were simpler, but things were hard, like trying to get a rounded button, you got to do images. Like, there was no way to do rounded buttons on the web, right? And it was just, I feel so when I do things with things like Flexbox and CSS Grid, I just smile. I'll be like, wow, this is
yeah,
fun. Back then, you got to do float left and float right. You got to clear fix.
clear effects. Yeah. But
It
also, I
was
mean,
fun.
the expectations were not that high for design, right? I mean, at that time,
Yeah.
designs used to be
Mm-hmm.
also simple, like rounded corner. I mean, it used to be an image. You have to
Mm-hmm.
insert the image, insert image is clickable. So, I mean, the
Yeah.
designs were also like, it was fully different from what it is today. Like all these
Mm-hmm.
fancy animations and proper
Yeah.
like
True.
placements of icons and so on.
Yeah, and back then we went so there were web applications, but they weren't all that popular. Like when you're building stuff on the web, it's probably just going to be like a server side thing.
Yeah,
Everything goes to the server, right? Like there wasn't much expectation in terms of like what our users expect. But now it's a total new ball game and total like new things for you to learn as a developer. And speaking about things to learn, right? I feel so you started Roadmap back in 2017. And when you explain your journey, I see the whole randomness, like you trying things, because I believe everything we learn along our way, they culminate into making us who we are in our path, right? So what was it about like your journey, or was it not your journey that like, I think it might be good to build something like Roadmap. So before you get into like that, you might want to give us like a quick primer of what Roadmap.sh is for like for those that don't know what it is, right?
yeah. So Roadmap.sh is a platform that provides learning paths. So learning paths for different stacks. It could be different skills. So let's say that you are a beginner who doesn't know anything about web development, and you need to know like how do I become a web developer. It will tell
Mhm,
you, like, for example, to be a front end developer or a back end developer, what are the skills you need. So you need A, B, C, and then we tell you, like, let's say that you're learning about front end development, what are the resources that can help you learn about that project, about the path, and
mhm,
then scaling up from there. And we also have the project ideas in there. So we actually launched it recently, last week, this week actually. So we also give you projects. So for example, let's say that you're learning about becoming a backend developer. Here are the 20 projects that you can build while you're building, while you're learning, to practice your skills also. So this is what I mean in general is like our vision is to be the Google of the learning space. So when you think about learning, searching something, you go to Google. So similarly, you want to be like when you want to think about learning something, the first thing that comes to your mind is roadmap, and all the things that we have been launching, all the features that we have been adding, it's all around that vision, like adding to making the learning journey of users easy.
Yeah. So that was the first. What prompted you to make it in 2017 is still the same mission you have right now?
Yeah, so I was like when I was in university, I was also involved in a lot of side stuff, not like side projects and stuff, like side stuff in terms of community. I was IEEE ambassador. I was also
Yeah.
a Microsoft student partner, and one of the responsibilities, apart from learning and student, I was also doing organizing events, organizing hackathons, and inviting speakers to come in the university and give talks, for example, and so on. So this I was doing it before also. So I graduated in 2014. So I was still in touch with the university. So whenever there were events or something, I was going as well. So what was happening was like a lot of students, because of this community work, were reaching out to me as well to ask, for example, how do I do I get my first job? I mean, this university was a small university. I mean, people like the curriculum that we were taught, it is still like ages old. So they don't give you any guidance about like how to get your first job, like
Mm-hmm.
what would be the different roles that you can have when you graduate and so on. So I was guiding students
Oh.
also. So I found myself repeating the same answer again and again. So I thought that maybe why don't I just create something as a visual format and I can share it with all these people. So the
Mm-hmm.
initial version was just two roadmaps, front-end developer and back-end developer, just a list of technologies that you can learn to become A or B, and I was just sharing it with them. So this is what I put them on GitHub because I thought maybe the other people need it also because there's a lot of students who are getting into this field, and it was supposed to be just that, just a side project that I was
Mm-hmm.
maintaining just to help the community. What happened
Mm-hmm.
was within a week, I was on vacation at that time. I remember like where I was sitting when I made this project. Within a week, it got to almost like 3,000 or 4,000 stars. So,
Mm-hmm.
so I just started working. Like there were a lot of requests coming from people. So people were requesting to add more roadmaps for QA, for DevOps, and all these different fields. And I mean that's how I got a start. From 2017 till 2020, it stays it stayed as a static images on the GitHub. It was not a website at all. It was just static things that were there. I was working on this, but I was mainly maintaining the backend and front end and DevOps roadmaps, just three roadmaps that I knew about, and I was not
Mm-hmm.
adding more. But then because a lot of people were requesting me to add resources, so for example, if I'm telling them to learn about backend development, I'm not giving anything like how would you learn backend development? How would you learn about, let's say, JavaScript, or how would you learn about NPM or whatever it is? So
Mm-hmm.
people were requesting me to add resources to this roadmap as well. And one of the challenges that I had was these roadmaps were built with Balsamiq. So Balsamiq is a wireframing tool. So it is not meant to be
Okay.
used for making interactive diagrams and so on. So it stayed on GitHub because of this region, but then I started taking it more seriously because it was getting more and more attention. So at that time, I think in around 2019, it was like 150 stars, 150,000 stars.
Mm-hmm.
So what I decided was like this weekend, just as a challenge, I would see if I can make this Balsamiq export as an interactive SVG or something. So I wrote some parser. What I was doing was I took the JSON that was generated from Balsamiq and I reverse engineer like how Balsamiq renders this SVG into that. So I rendered this SVG, and then this was the first step towards making it interactive. And then I mean the community got involved. We added more roadmaps. Right now we are sitting at almost 50 plus roadmaps. We have a lot of content in there. We have login registration, so it's no longer a static website anymore. It's super like we have almost like 1.25 million registered users. We get
Ooh.
5 million, 5 million page views per month, and we have a lot more content. We are launching, for example, projects. We have support for teams, so teams can create an account and invite their team members, create custom paths for team members, and so on. So the rest is the history. I mean, we have gotten so big in the
Yeah.
past 7-8 years.
Wow. That's amazing. Like, it's it's really interesting how, because I feel like any good business has to be abstracted from like a real world pain. So like, so like when people want to um automate stuff, they go right into automating without really doing things manually to really know what you need. So like you've been doing this, like helping students with their career path, what to learn and all that. So you've had several manual iterations to know that, okay, this is the best effective way to do it. Because when I see roadmap, there are a lot of roadmaps out there for things. But when I look at roadmap, like I think I've stumbled on roadmap like maybe 3 years ago or something. Like when I look at it, it's more, there's a path, right? And it feels more holistic than just random, okay, you got to go learn this and go on. It feels more like this was made by someone who understood the problem, by an educator, so to speak. So that's how I see the platform. And I think I've recommended it to like a lot of people. Like just go there anytime they ask me what do I need to learn to be this, I just go to roadmap.sh, go check it out and just follow the path, right? So it's so one reason I've been skeptical for on roadmaps is because they are good, right? But I think you might also share this sentiment of like they sort of like take away that experimentation where you try things. Like you tried Android, right? Like you tried a couple of things before you like, carve a niche for yourself, right? So when people want like a direct roadmap from me, even though I point where to go, I'm always this skeptical. Like you probably don't really know what you like yet, right? But with roadmap.sh, right, it's not like you could try several paths, right? And see, you could, in fact, you could, on the way of trying one path, you could be like, okay, I don't think this is my jam. I'm gonna try something else. And it's all there, it's all detailed, the same thing, you could just follow through. So I think it's really, really good. So do you share that sentiment that roadmap made like a side effect, like I take away that experimentation from like you just figuring things out?
So, I mean, not the first thing is, I mean, the when we launched the roadmap, the initial launch that I had in mind was the intermediate developers who want to
Okay.
scale up. So this was the initial
Mm,
goal,
yeah.
just for to scale up. I mean, not someone who's completely beginner who doesn't know anything trying to get it. But
Mm-hmm.
eventually, I mean, slowly we started getting into the beginner space
Yeah.
also. So now we have a lot of beginner roadmaps as well, like beginner
Mm-hmm.
front end, beginner DevOps, and beginner. The other thing is like not everyone has this. I mean, they don't have any. I mean, not many people have this thing that they can experiment a lot. For example,
Mm-hmm.
one of the DMs that I receive quite often is people thanking me because they were able to learn from roadmap and change their career trajectory or
Mm,
financial situation of their home. Like for example, let's say that there is a student who is in his seventh semester. He's about to graduate in 6 months. He doesn't have all this time to experiment, right? So
yeah.
if he has a path, let's say that I know about all these roles, so I can just pick one role and then find a job in this one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, this not everyone has this time, right? So if you don't have
Yeah.
time, I mean, you can't experiment all this stuff. You can't experiment and fail. Even if you
Mm-hmm.
want, I mean, what you can do is like with roadmaps, pick up one roadmap. For example, let's say that we
Yeah,
have
true.
20 roadmaps for role-based roadmap. Pick one role,
Mm-hmm.
see if you like it or not. Pick up the other one if you don't like it. Pick up the other one or you not like it.
Mm-hmm.
So again, like started as a intermediate for intermediate developers, not for beginners, but we're slowly moving towards to the beginners also. And we have some
Mm-hmm.
interesting roadmaps coming in as well that are going to be tackling this, like giving the holistic view of the full field and then helping you decide how do you want to do it. Like, do you want to be a generalist, try with different things, and then come to a conclusion, or do you want to be like a specific stack guy?
Mm. Mm. Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like from what you explained from like your original goals, like if it's like someone who wasn't a beginner, like trying to scale up, perfect. But I also get you because when you have too much options, like you said, not everyone can experiment. Some people just, like they're like a blank slate
Yeah.
and they just want to find the one that they like, just limit my options, okay, and give me a path, right? I think most people benefit from that, and that really makes sense. So I'm looking at the website again. Like I said, your website is really beautiful. The visualization, I don't, you need to. So is it still open source?
Yeah, so some parts are
Mm-hmm.
not open source. For example,
Okay.
the editor is not open source, and then the
Mm-hmm.
backend is not also open source. And the reason for
Mm-hmm.
not keeping it open source is because, like, it's been live for the past 7 8 years. So we have seen a lot of people who come, they grab it. So we introduced
Of
courses and
course.
stuff recently, like 2 years ago, almost 2.5 years ago. So we added the courses then.
Okay.
A lot of people were
Okay.
using these roadmaps maliciously. For example,
Uh,
someone would come, they would grab all the roadmap code, and they would put, for example, the affiliate links in there, and just
mm-hmm.
put random courses in there just to make money out of
Mm,
them. So that's what I
Yeah.
didn't want. So that's why like I didn't make all of it open source, because we didn't want to go into this space. Like we didn't want let people make money off of the beginners, because the audience is mostly beginners, and it
True.
doesn't feel right to just like do this, right?
Mm.
That's why like it like most of the stuff is open source, but not all of them. Like editor is private, backend is private as well.
Mm. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So do you think roadmap is like a, because you have courses, right? You have detailed guides, articles. Do you think it's the sort of like a good companion for like another route that is not bootcamp? Because I know most people spend like lots of dollars in like getting into a bootcamp to like learn how to code their skills. Do you think it's a good substitute, or it's like it augments it?
No, I think, I mean, boot camps are good, but the thing is, like, boot camps cost a lot of money, and then
True.
boot camps also, like, I know a lot of like spammy or scammy
Yeah.
course sellers or boot camps. So what they do is like they put ads on YouTube and say like learn about full stack development in 1 month or 2 months or 3 months and so on. So I mean, if you can afford it and there's a good boot camp, you can take it. But we are also trying to make roadmap also into a place where don't need a boot camp. I mean, you just come to
Mm-hmm.
roadmap and then you get the idea from there. So because we have
Mm-hmm.
already the content in there, for example, let's say that if you pick up a front end beginner roadmap, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the internet is filled with free stuff. For example, on
Mm.
YouTube, on for example YouTube, Udemy,
Yeah.
there's a lot of places where a lot of free content is there. And the other
Mm-hmm.
good thing is we have a super big community. So we are like 288,000 stars at the moment, and we
Mm-hmm.
have almost a million people on our newsletters. A lot of people are opening. So we recently crossed 1,000 people who contributed to the project. So a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people are contributing free content as well. For example, they would come and say, I learned HTML from this free course on YouTube. They
Mm-hmm.
would put the content in there. So all the content that we have on Roadmap is free of cost. So you don't need a paid content, like a paid platform or a paid bootcamp to get everything. If
Mm.
you need, you can just come on board and then get it all from Roadmap. And one other thing that we will be launching this month is not, I mean, made public yet. I'm just telling you
Yeah.
now. So
Sure.
it's front end courses. It's courses. So each
Mm-hmm.
roadmap, apart from the roadmap, will have a new tab, just like projects. It's called courses,
Mm-hmm.
and this is going to be like a timeline. So we'll say, for example, these courses, take these courses, you will gain these skills and do this 2 projects. Move on,
Mm.
like learn this course, watch this course, like do these courses, do these projects, and so on. So there'll be a
Mm.
timeline kind of format of this each roadmap, which will be just focused
Mm.
on free content.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, people are submitting this content. I mean, we get a lot of nice courses. For them, my brother is learning about this. He's still a student. He's in third semester at the moment. He did
Mm-hmm.
not take any courses. He did not take any boot camps. I gave him all
Mm.
this roadmap link. I gave him this. So I'm using my brother as a, I mean, as an experiment as
Yeah.
well. So I'm giving him and see like how he's learning, and trying to
Mm-hmm.
bring those features into the roadmap as well. So no, you
Mm.
don't need a bootcamp if you don't need. I mean, if you can't afford it, just go take a roadmap and look at the courses that we have already there.
Mm. Superb. I like it. That makes a lot of sense. So one thing, we're slowly getting into the business side of things, which is my favorite session. Like so you left from 2017 to 2022, like 5 years. You were this like more like a side hustle,
Yeah.
right? What prompted the change? Like, what was the like? Now it's a business, right? Like, what prompted the change? Like, okay, you know what? Apart from like user, because we know the path of entrepreneurship is it's not the, is the road less traveled, right? Is the road less predictable in terms of money? Of course, we all need income and stuff. So, like, why? Like, why did you make the boat switch from like doing it part time to just going in full?
Okay, so none of my projects, if you look at my GitHub, like I was always making content for developers. Like on
Mm-hmm.
GitHub, I am like
Yeah.
second most, like repository, like I have the second most starred projects on GitHub. So all the
Nice.
stuff that I was building, it was for developers, and whatever I used to build, I used to put on GitHub, because I was doing it as a passion. I was not like attached, trying to add this monetary kind of goal towards it. So I
Mm-hmm.
never did anything just to make money of it. Like Roadmap was a similar thing. Like it was not started as a like I had some goal in mind that I'll make money from it, or I'll just start
Mm-hmm.
living from it, or whatever it is. So
Mm.
yeah, I mean, it was excellent. I mean, I was just doing it, and then I saw a lot of people were using it, and I was not going to go full time on this. And Side Partners is the investor, so they reached out to me around 2021. So they are quite like private equity firm. They have around 92
Okay.
billion dollar of assets in their control. So they reached out
Ooh.
to me and then they asked me like, what are the plans for roadmap? So we talked about it.
Mhm.
Like we had like the discussions went on for 6 months. I wanted to see like what their plans are for this and so on. At that time, it used to be like 4 or 5 roadmaps. It was not that big. Also, I wanted to see like because there was a potential in roadmap. I knew that if I spent more time on it, I could take it, but I could not do it because I had full-time job and I was also working on other things. So I was not focusing on roadmap fully. So I thought I wanted to experiment. I wanted to see like where I could take it if I was working full time on this. So that's why around
Mhm.
2022, in mid 22, I decided to go full time and see like where I could take it. So yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
they are the investor. That's why I decided to go full time.
Okay. Oh, nice. That's like because so that's interesting. It's quite interesting that it was seen as a viable business to want to invest in even before you saw it as like this business because like you said you've been doing it like for free and that's so the when it comes to the business side like how do you project like in terms of okay now it's a full-time business because of course all business needs to make money so how do you predict like currently now like how are you seeing like because I see the Teams feature that's the paid feature right.
No, it's free of cost at the moment.
Oh,
It's going
wow.
to be
Oh,
paid, but it's for free for the
okay,
moment.
okay, free for now. Okay, cool. So, like, what is the business like looking for you? Because it's a good project. It's a great project. It's amazing. But from a businessman perspective, like, how are you going to approach it?
So there are several ways. I mean, if I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to make money in the beginning, I could easily make money without the investment. I mean, without investment, I could
Yeah.
make money from it also because there were people reaching out to me. I wouldn't name them, but there were people reaching out to me and saying like, "Put my link in there, and we'll pay you this much
Yeah.
this month, or we'll put my link or
Sponsorships
become
and
a
ads.
partnership or a sponsorship and
Mm-hmm.
ads." Like people trying to because a lot of people are selling courses. They wanted to
Mm-hmm.
make me sell their courses for them and
Mm-hmm.
then get some money in terms of that. Like become partners with them. So I could do it,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't do it at that
Mm-hmm.
time because I did not have any capacity to validate if the content is good. And my goal, like, I was making good money at jobs, so I didn't want to make money. So right now, I mean, I've definitely, I mean, there's like cost attached to the project. I mean, there's server costs. There is like all these people. Like I'm working full time. There's like I have 2 guys working with me also full time. So definitely
Mm-hmm.
there's some. I mean, some money that we need to make from it. I mean, there are several ways to make money. Like free content and the member stuff is going to be fully free. Like individuals who are using the platform, it's going to be fully free. We're not going to put like scammy courses in there just to like
Mm-hmm.
rip them off or something. I mean, the money is going to come from first as teams. So let's say
Mm-hmm.
that my team,
Yeah.
I have 1,000 developers or 500 developers. I'm going to charge the teams like who needed to use the platform. Right now we have I think 9,500 registered teams. So this number is growing
Mm-hmm.
every day. Like we get more and more teams coming. So this is one way. The second thing is like uh, affiliate links we're going to put. So, but it's not going to be like affiliate links that we'll put
Mm-hmm.
like random affiliate links. So there will be a separate tab apart from the roadmap. The roadmap will still be there. So we'll
Yeah.
recommend courses like if you can afford, take these
Mm-hmm.
courses. These are the vetted courses that we have for this topic. If you can afford, go and take it, and then we'll make some money
Mm-hmm.
from it. So this is the other way. The third is like we have a big newsletter, so putting
Oh
the
yes.
sponsors in there as well. So we are not
Mm.
exploring that at the moment. We are going to start thinking about this soon because I mean we need to make money. We are spending a lot of money on the platform as
Yeah,
well.
of course. Of
But
course.
but but the individual content is going to be always free. Like we'll not try to rip
Mm.
people off just for the sake of making money. Teams is there, like which is quite. I think a lot we have seen good interest from people. So
Mm-hmm.
that's one way.
Yeah, perfect. So Teams, your newsletter in the future, then I think the whole idea of like having vetted partners because they have people like reputable courses and both as individual and as platforms, it could
Yeah.
definitely be really, really good because I feel since most of your user base are newbies and we both feel the same way about asking newbies to pay for stuff. They're not making any money, so why are you charging them this much to learn? So we could like put on like that earning on like the B2B, let's call it B2B, right? Like
Yeah.
there are the businesses that are just given this platform. So, yeah.
Yeah, every feature
Mm.
that we implement, we always think about the individuals as well. So we think about, for
Yeah.
example, the courses feature that I'm telling you about. So
Mm-hmm.
we're launching this soon. So for example, each roadmap will just be a simpler version
Mm-hmm.
of that roadmap with just some courses and some links and some project ideas in there, and that's it. So when I was building this, also I was still thinking like, how would we give value to the person who could not afford to pay, right? So that's why what we'll be doing is like we'll put two free or like one or two free courses
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
one paid course, for example. So if you can't afford, go and take the free courses. Like we're not enforcing you to go and do it or paywalling the content
Mm-hmm.
for the paid member or something.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Mm.
this has always been the priority. So to make it valuable for the individuals, and the goal is,
Yeah.
I mean, like if I show you the message that I get just for people thanking me because they
Wow.
could make money from it or they could learn. I mean, it's kind of a virtuous job for me as well, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to just, just destroy it for the sake of money.
Mm. Yeah, it's admirable, really, and I really must give you your accolades for doing that, because I feel like our industry is it has so much upside for people that want to get in and change their lives, literally from just being good at solving problems with these skills. Are you like making their entry really smooth, like making low barrier, free quality
Yeah,
content? Because first of all, just the idea of knowing what to learn with with certainty, it's just amazing. Because like, and I was talking to someone I think yesterday, and they were like, I really do not know where to start and stuff,
yeah.
right? Because there's just so much. He said, anytime I hear about something new, I get scared, like, well, I haven't gotten this yet, but why is there so much? And so much with so much variations as well. That's why, and so much people and different ways to learn it. So I feel like that this is really good work, and
Yeah, and
it's
the
amazing.
other good thing is like, I mean, I've been in this educational space for the past
Mm-hmm.
7 8 years, right? I mean, I know,
Yeah.
like, for example, based on the feedback from people, like people who I have been mentoring and so on, I know about like how people learn and so on. So it's also
Yeah.
about shaping the platform to make sure that
Mm.
we make the learning easier. So when you say, for example, this, I mean, let's say if I pick front end roadmap has
Yeah.
internet has a lot of topics, right? You have protocols,
Mm-hmm.
you have all the OSI layers and all the stuff. So I mean, there's a
Yeah.
lot of theoretical knowledge. You don't know like when you should move on to the next topic. Let's say you pick up
Mm-hmm.
HTML. HTML also, it can be like 100 different topics that you can learn. Same for React.
Mm.
React would be itself like a full roadmap as well, right? One thing that people don't know is
Mm.
like when to stop and move on. This project's idea that we
True.
added, this is one step towards that. So also
Yeah.
like learning more about the journey of like learning journey of an individual and trying to cater the platform or modify the platform in that way. That's
Mm-hmm.
also another good thing. I mean, the investors that I have inside partners, I mean, I'm lucky to have them. They're really good. They don't bother me at all. They don't
Mm-hmm.
ask me like, what are you building or when are you building this or whatever. So I just tell them that I'll be
Mm-hmm.
working on this for the next six months or whatever, and they're fine
Mm-hmm.
with it. So that's the good
Yeah.
thing. I mean, I'm lucky to be working on this, and I mean, I'm lucky to know that this audience that I have who are willing to learn from the platform and then giving feedback as well
Mm.
is only going to get
That's
better. I think in the next 6 months.
yeah.
I mean, you will see that. I mean, it's the platform that you see now.
Mm-hmm.
Next year in June, it will be fully like completely something different, like more beginner catered with projects and all this content that you'll see on the platform. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's superb. I love the goal, and of course, I see you on X, Twitter, and I see how you're shipping. You're building in public, which is something that we indie hackers entrepreneurs we kind of like doing, and I like the whole um agility. So let's talk about the team who makes the dream work. Like, what is the head count of people at Roadmap right now, and what do they do? Like, just give us like a org structure.
So we have two and a half. So I'm saying two and a half because we have two. It's not like we have half guys. So we have two full time and one part time guy. So
Oh
it's
wow.
me. I've been
Mm-hmm.
working since 2022. I mean, since before, like full time 22. I've got
Yeah.
Dan. Dan is a developer advocate. You might see him on our Discord, which is quite active. He's doing a good
Yeah.
job making sure that he's engaging with the community. We have live events on Discord and
Okay.
stuff. So there is Dan,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's Eric. Eric is actually, I mean, I have a good story for him. So I was looking at my Twitter. I found him through Twitter on X.
Okay.
So he sent me a message around 2019, 2018. At that time, he did not know anything about programming at all. So he sent me a
Mm-hmm.
message. He saw some of my content and he was asking me like, what font are you using for making videos? What software do you use for this? So he was learning, like I gave him the roadmap. He was making, like he was learning from the roadmap. And then in 2022, he reached out to me that I am looking for a job. Are
Oh,
you?
okay.
At that time, I was looking for someone to help me with programming and so on. And he was quite
Mm-hmm.
beginner. He did not have any real world experience. So I decided to have a call
Mm-hmm.
with him. I saw like he was trying and so on, and then I got him part time. He's still a student. I think
Mm-hmm.
in his fourth semester, and he came on board, and then he has grown so much. Right now, I mean, he's working with me, and I think I rely on him on a lot of things. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so this is a half guy, 2.5. So Eric, me, and Dan.
It's a lean team. It's how I like it. Very lean, because I feel even you might be tempted to like get more hands, which will increase your costs, right?
Yeah.
And when your costs increase, you probably won't be more enticing to do most of these quality free things, because of course you have more people to pay in salaries and stuff. So if you could find a way to do it really lean and give much value, I feel that's like a sweet spot that really makes sense. No, I feel no matter how you get big for your startup, you probably always want to keep costs low. I think Warren Buffett has always said, you got to watch your cost, watch your cost, keep costs low as much as you can. So I think that's really good to see that you're 2.5, 3-ish, and you're doing this much. It's
And also, I
amazing.
mean, the other thing is, I mean, we don't hire people just for the sake of. I mean, they have given me a free hand, so if you need more people, get
Mm-hmm.
them. I can do it easily. So the reason why I
Yeah.
hired Dan was because I was doing a lot of community work on myself, and then adding content, and then doing the community work. For example, for making roadmap, the way we make roadmaps is we reach out to the subject matter experts and get them to help us make the roadmaps as well. So I was
Mm-hmm.
doing it myself, and then like community events, matching, like for example, managing the Discord events and so on. This is all me.
Mm-hmm.
So I hired Dan because I needed this. So I mean, we could hire more people as well, but the thing is, like, we'll hire people and they will do what? I mean, we don't know like what we need to build as well, right? So first we need to
True.
be sure like we need this and this and this. So that's why like we need
Mm-hmm.
to keep the cost low as well, and making sure that we have the proper like plan in place, and then think
Mm-hmm.
about like where do we need to spend this money. For example, let's say that we can hire one guy. I mean, would it be, let's say that, for example, hypothetically, let's say that we launch courses. We're not going to launch
Okay.
courses, I mean, yet, and we're not thinking of doing it
Mm-hmm.
at all. I mean, let's
Yeah.
say that we are going to hire courses. Why don't we hire someone as a freelancer who could make a course for us, and then they just go? This way, like, we could hire someone
Yeah.
like for front end,
Contractor.
someone for back end, someone for DevOps, and so on. So I
Mm-hmm.
rely on, for example, if I need someone, get them as a consultant, get his help, or
Mm-hmm.
a freelancer, and then see, because I'm also like a technical guy. I'm doing myself all of the things. I mean, once we get to the point that we're making some money, then we will think about like increasing the headcount if
Yeah.
needed. Right now, there's no need at all.
Yeah. That's totally. So I think it's something similar that Sahil, the guy who did Gumroad. Like, I don't know if you know his story. So at
Yeah,
first with Gumroad, like apart from to like sell stuff, they were funded and all, but they sort of like blew, and he was working full time, a lot of employees and stuff. And I think they sort of blew the money off. And then like when they have like a second chance to come back, it just did like everyone is working part time,
yeah,
including him, and everyone is a contractor. Like you get to be paid by the hour, and it really worked. Like you wouldn't even know that there's no full time person working going back at the time. Like when they make the switch, it was just its work. So even how I work too in my company and stuff, it's almost like everything is still like a side project. There's no dedicated person anywhere. If I need a logo, if I need like graphic design, I have someone who I could contract, and I pay her per project. Like, so give me an invoice, I pay you, you just do it, and it's gone. It's easier than having like someone on payroll, dedicated graphics designer, for example. I don't, or UI UX designer. I don't know how many times I do that every month to warrant
yeah.
having that fixed cost. So it really, really makes sense. Yeah.
And also, especially like when you're experimenting, it doesn't make sense to have people
Mm-hmm.
full time. I mean, you can hire all the people
Yeah.
now. They're doing what? Like, you don't know like what you need
Yeah.
to build. So what are they?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you paying them for? Like, you need to find out like
Exactly.
what is the product that you're going to be building. Then
Mm-hmm.
get more people.
I love it. Yeah. So talking about building, right? This is another geeky part. So we might segue back into business, but let's talk tech. Like because when I load a new roadmap, the app loads, right? But I feel there's something interesting about this visualization. Like, so
Yeah.
tell us, like, from start to bottom, like back end, front end, like what goes into building roadmap.sh.
Sure. So I posted the architectural diagram for roadmap some time
Oh,
ago as well. So
okay. I
not now,
could go
some time
find
ago.
that.
So
Okay.
the tech stack is, I mean, we have the front end is Astro. So we're using Astro for everything. So all the products that we
Oh,
have,
really?
they're all built with Astro. And the good thing about
Nice.
Astro is like it is super simple. I mean, SSG, you can generate the SSG. If you need the SSR, you can
Mm-hmm.
do it also. And especially the things that they have been launching for server islands and so on, they have been super
Yeah.
helpful in what we have been building while maintaining
Mm-hmm.
the simplicity. So Astro is on the front end, and then we have Node.js APIs. So everything is Node.js APIs. So backend is
Mm.
mostly Node.js and database is MongoDB. We're also using some
Mm-hmm.
Postgre as well. So this is the main application that you see on the website. Then we also we're using Redis, and then what else do we have? And then on the we have back office. Back office is used to monitor all the things that people have been doing on the website. For example, banning
Okay.
users or see that we are not getting spammed
Yeah.
or spammy content and so on. So there's a back
Mm-hmm.
office. Back office same Astro and Node.js, MongoDB. Then we have
Mm.
Metabase. So Metabase is the tool that I'm using for building reports. So everything that we launch, so I try to make sure that I have proper reports to make sure that to keep an eye on like how people are using the platform and so on. So this is the Metabase. Then we have everything deployed on AWS, simple
Mm-hmm.
EC2 instances, and
Mm.
what else do we have? Everything's on Git and GitHub. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
See.
application wise, we have I think 4 main applications. The main application editor is a separate application. Editor is
Mm-hmm.
draw.roadmap.sh. Back office is
Mm-hmm.
separate. Back office.roadmap.sh, and then Metabase is data and yeah. I think yeah.
Mm.
I mean, it's not super exciting
Yeah.
tech stack. I mean,
Boring. Keep it boring.
yeah, so we've kept it boring. I mean, the good thing is like that's also has allowed to keep our server costs low. We didn't try
Yes, please.
serverless and all this stuff. I mean, it's all simple. It's all on AWS,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's working well for us. We never had any issues.
I love it. Like I'm pretty surprised you said Astro because I know Astro is fairly new, but I also dabbled using Astro. I think my website, dominoskevin.dev is on Astro,
Mhm.
and blog.salescast.com, which is like the blog platform, is also on Astro. So Astro is like a phenomenal tech because it just gave us this like, whoa. First of all, what I love about it, because I'm a very big proponent of like, do not ship that JavaScript if you don't need it to your users.
Yeah.
Write everything you want on JavaScript. I love JavaScript, but if you're sending any megs of JavaScript or any kilobytes of JavaScript, make sure it's essential if it's necessary. So I also came like, you know what, you could definitely start building stuff and send zero JavaScript.
Yeah.
And people were like, "What? We could do this? We didn't know." So I really love Astro for that. I'm really, it's fascinating you're using Astro, and so you're using Node.js because I use it like Vanilla Express or I use it like more MVC like frameworks. Like how does that work for you?
So I mean, actually, before we jump into that, as to how we got into Astro. So Astro was
Mm-hmm.
launched at that time. So at that time, I was like Roadmap was built with Jekyll. If you know about Jekyll, Jekyll
Yeah,
is
yeah,
simple,
yeah, yes, yeah, I know it.
simple Markdown files. And it was
Mm-hmm.
images, so it made sense to use Jekyll. Then we
Mm-hmm.
moved to Eleventy. If you know about Eleventy,
I
11ty.
know it too. Yeah.
It was really good, but the thing is, like when we made the website interactive, so there were a lot of topic files, right? A lot of Markdown
Mm-hmm.
files. So when you click, let's say the one roadmap is 150 nodes, multiply
Mm-hmm.
by multiply that by 55 roadmaps, so you have like thousands and
Mm.
thousands of files. So the build time was super slow, so it was taking 4 or 5 minutes to build.
Oh
Astro was
no.
new at that time, so I did an experiment with that, and then we decided to stick with it. And then they added
Mm.
more features for interactivity and so on. And for interactivity, I mean, we have React components in there. It's built in a super cool way. So we have some vanilla JavaScript in there. We have some React stuff in there. So we're using a mix
Mm-hmm.
of React and vanilla JavaScript with this also. So
Mm.
interactivity is all React, and we have Tailwind for
Oh
styling.
yes,
Um,
Tailwind. Go Tailwind. I love
yeah,
Tailwind. It is. I think it's the indie hacker or entrepreneur that wants to build best friend because it just makes styling a breeze. I know people hate on Tailwind, but Tailwind literally changed how I think about like styling on the web. It's just amazing. So yeah, I love Tailwind. Team Tailwind, yeah. So that's fun. So you deploy on AWS, use JavaScript all through the stack, which I love. I love JavaScript, so definitely all up for it. So how about
Astro
like your go on.
Astro has some SSL also. So the good thing about
Mm-hmm.
Astro is like you can pre-render the routes, or you can make them
Yeah.
not pre-render. So because it's
Okay.
mostly static website, I mean some pages are static and some are dynamic. So we
Mm-hmm.
have hybrid export. Also, so when we build it, it's hybrid. And
Okay.
most of the pages are static. For example, the roadmap pages that you see, they're static. When the user
Mm.
loads them, then they make a request to fetch the user progress and render it in the browser. So
Okay.
this has allowed us to keep our website super fast. So it takes like 30 to 40 milliseconds to load a page. If you open website,
Mm.
it feels like it's running on your local. So
Mm.
this is it. Like I mean, hybrid rendering. Some pages are on the
Mm-hmm.
server, most are on the client side. Then we're using CloudFront on AWS. So most of
Mm.
the pages are from CloudFront to make sure that they're super fast. Also,
Nice. I love it. I love it, and it looks really, really good. Like you guys, excellent design first of all, and the functionalities are really good, and it's fast.
I'm happy to
That's
hear that
that's
you like the
amazing.
design because this is all done by a non-designer, by me. So, so
I
all done with experimentation. So when people praise
yeah
about the design, I mean, I always feel happy. I mean, they say that the design is good. I mean,
yeah,
I'm
the
the one
design great.
non-designer.
Yeah, I do all my designs myself, so I feel when it when you're going lean and you just want to build stuff, if you want good enough design, there's always prior arts. Like when I want inspiration, I just look at the things that I already like. I'll be like, okay, why do I like this? And how like, how can I get some inspiration to build my own? Is that for you as well?
I'm never happy with my design. So this is like fourth or fifth iteration. So one thing that has helped me a lot is, I mean, as I said, like, there's fourth or fifth iteration. I mean, this is not
Mm-hmm.
the one that you see. Like probably have the snapshots of all the previous versions also on my laptop. So the way
Okay.
I got good, I mean, not good, I mean, I would say intermediate at design is I used to do a lot of these exercises. For example, I would pick two designs, so two designs that I like, for example,
Mm-hmm.
A or B. What I would do is
Mm-hmm.
like, I would say like, I would take the header from here, the hero
Oh,
section from here, footer from here, this button design
Frankenstein
from here,
monster.
yeah, and then merge them together and see like how
Yeah.
does it look like. So take
Uh-huh.
3 4 designs and then merge them together and see like what you come up with. And the other thing, I mean, is like on my Twitter, like it's my feed is mostly filled with designs. I like them
Mm.
whenever they come. So the curated feed is all design stuff. So always looking at the design. I think one thing that is really important for anyone, especially like an indie hacker who's trying to build something, is getting a good eye for design. If you
Mm.
develop this, I
I
think
agree.
you can be like really, really good. I mean, if you're a full stack developer and if you have a good eye for design, and I mean, you don't have to be designer. You just have to have an eye for design, which means that being able to tell if it is a good design or a bad design. If you just get
Mm.
good at that, I mean, you can easily become good at design. Most of the people, I
Yeah.
mean, they would just build a random design and they would be thinking this is super good, and you would show it to someone and they would say like, "What is this?" So, so have a good eye for design.
True. I feel you're spot on because like I actually get that like anytime I build stuff, be like, oh, who is the designer? I be like, no designer. I just have like I think when you build stuff on the web, we're just like a person, like you know things that are visually appealing to you, right? And and when you want to build, you just still like just like you said. I think I've done. I still do that. Like I am currently working on a new course for my platform, which is build 50 projects in 50 days,
Mhm.
and all the designs are from like things that I like different places. Like maybe I look at basecamp.com, for example, I'll be like, okay, I think I like the hero section of basecamp.com. I'm going to like, I'm going to take one part of it. I take this other part, take this button here, and just make something that I would like and I will use. And when I'm done, it comes out as this, oh, this is nice. But I'm not a designer. I
Yeah.
can see good design and appreciate it. So I guess I can make one fairly good, right? Maybe not all that. And do you do Figma designs? Because I know I don't.
I do all in the browser, like in the code. So I
Yeah.
just keep experimenting and see what I come up with. One other thing that I have
Uh,
noticed is like, for example, when you're looking at some design that you build, you will start to
mhm.
hate it. This is natural. So if I look at my design, for example, roadmap, I mean, you hate it because you are the one building and you have been looking at it for hours. So one of the things that
Yeah.
has helped me is also like when you come up with something, first thing is you could go out for a walk or, for example, sleep on it,
Mhm.
wake up tomorrow and look at it. Maybe you will like it again. So there's one thing,
Mm.
and then show it to someone that is honest. Like you take a proper, honest feedback from them. So
Mm.
this
True.
is how I mean, and you don't have to be like a super design genius. I mean, it just has to. You have to have proper spacing. Stick with some color palette. For example, my color palette is hash
Mm.
CCC, and then black color, and then tailwind
Yeah.
default border and this stuff. So just come up with
Yeah.
a proper like your own colors that you like, a simple font
Mhm.
that you like, and then all designs that will be similar. So one feedback that I
Mhm.
get is all my designs are all the same. So any project that I do, so
Mm.
anyone can tell this is built by Kamran because the design looks similar to it. It has boxes, it has good
Mm.
spacing, I mean only spacing, system UI
Mhm.
font, black and white colors. And I don't go with the colors because it's difficult to pick up like a right color.
Mhm.
Black and white, you can never go wrong with that. So just go with black and
Mm.
white and then have proper
You
spacing
can
and this is
never.
yeah.
That is the new rave. I think most like anytime I see a company do like a redesign, it's probably looking like a shade of black and white or tints going on there. I just feel it's very like you said, you can never go wrong with it, and it's just if it feels nice. Really, just looks like when I see too much colors in an app, I feel like, oh well, I think it's too noisy. But when black and white is just soothing to like look, right.
Yeah,
So mhm,
if you're a designer and you know about color theory and stuff, I mean, yeah, sure, go for different designs. But I mean, if you
yeah,
don't know, I mean, you're not a designer, don't like fill it up with blue and yellow and green and purple and all these colors. So just
just
go
go
with
black and white.
black and white. Yeah, give proper font sizes, make the fonts bigger,
Yeah.
put proper
Mm,
spaces, put boxes, and boxes also keep them, for example, in a dark shade, and don't put anything,
yeah.
I mean, super horrendous
Hmm.
in there. So yeah, that should be simple.
Yeah, for sure. I feel at the early stages, even I feel early stages could take years. Even now, you're still figuring things out. You probably wouldn't want to, dedicate that much time into like, okay, we need a design system, or like how, like we need to really properly get like a UI UX person and all, because it doesn't, in the scale or in the priority of things, having a bespoke design, I don't think it's up there at all. So it's more like giving the value of the product as easily as possible, and any friction you just remove it by just making the choices, whether it's right or wrong. So far, it's good enough. You just move forward.
Yeah, you have to play with what you have. I mean, don't think about
Mm-hmm.
like all the things, fancy things. For example, I have been doing these side projects since the past like few years, and I always have tried to do it all myself. So one,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I learned a lot from this stuff, and second, I mean, I found out about all these things that are helping me with roadmap as well. So you never know.
Mm-hmm.
Like people think that, I mean, you're wasting your time. I mean, eventually you are learning along the way as well. So
True.
I mean, if you look at, for
Yeah.
example, so I used to get, so there was a friend, I mean, I have a funny story. So I had a friend who was sitting one day with me and he was working on his blood donation website and he was saying like, I'll make money from this. So I made a joke with him that you're going to make money from off of people who are trying to donate blood and stuff. So he joked with me that you are wasting your time, or go and write blog posts, go and do open source. And in his point of view, I mean, he was thinking that I'm wasting my time. But I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
also felt like at that time, but I was doing it for fun. But then now, if I look back at the time, I mean, I wouldn't change a thing. I learned a lot from all this experience. So
Mm.
just do things, build things. I mean, and try to
Yeah.
do it yourself.
Try
One,
everything.
yeah, one other thing, I mean, that people stick is, for example, people don't learn outside their job, so they have this mindset. I mean, because I the kind of product that I have is students and beginners and intermediate developers. So people don't
Mm-hmm.
learn when they get out of the job. So they try to learn everything at 9 to 5, and they don't get to learn outside. So if you do this, I mean, you will always be limited. So for example, if you're a backend
Mm.
developer and you are doing ABC at work, if you just learn a job, you will be always in this bubble learning ABC, not doing DEF or whatever. So
Yeah. True.
always have a side project, come outside. Like when you come out, for example, spend some time, at least half an hour or 1 hour or 2 hours per week at least. Do your own
Mm-hmm.
things, whether it is design or whether it is like engaging with the
Mm.
community or whatever it is.
Mm. I love it, Cameron. I really do. So we are slowly wrapping up. This has been amazing. I feel like we could go another hour, but no, let's keep it in the pocket. So tell me, what is your typical day now that you are full time in Roadmap? Like when we like, just give us a rundown. Like today, let's use today as a case. Like, what's your typical day? Like, what do you do?
It depends. Like one day, I mean, we're a
Mm,
small team, so I do everything. So I'll tell you about the project's launch. So we did the
Jack of all
project launch
trades.
recently, right? Yeah, so we launched the project launch. We did the project's launch, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I would wake up and see, let's say these are my priorities. I would pick up my priorities for today, and I would see like I
Mm-hmm.
would spend this much time on this, I would spend this much time on this, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to nail these two goals today, and I'll work on that goal. I mean, it's different. Like someday I have a lot of calls with different, for example, people like subject matter experts who are willing to contribute, for example,
Mm-hmm.
or working on the design or working on converting a roadmap that Dan might have prepared. So working on the
Mm-hmm.
roadmap, for example, or I mean, it varies. Today, for example, I was just working on, so there were some open source issues on the GitHub. So I fixed two
Mm-hmm.
or three of them. One is this
Mm-hmm.
course's version of the roadmap. I was working on the design for that. So
Mm-hmm.
it is not finished yet. I'll continue with that tomorrow. I'll finish the design and
Mm-hmm.
then start working on the content. So it varies. So normally, like
Mm-hmm.
what happens is like every 6 months, I prepare the plan. So this is the plan that I need to tackle for the next 6 months. Every month, I'll be doing this. And every month is divided into content, marketing side things, feature side, legacy stuff that we need to migrate, and so on. So all these 4 or 5 nature of categories every month, and then this
Mm,
whole thing is divided into week. Like this week is this week is this, and so on.
mm, mm. Perfect. So, yeah, I have one more business or like how you work question before we get into like the winding down questions, which are just fun. They're very trivial. So, speaking of how you work, like how do you communicate with your teams? Like, is it Slack or where? How does that
We
work?
have a Slack, yes.
Okay,
With the
so you
team members, a
primarily
Slack.
Slack.
Yeah, for
Okay,
Discord, for community stuff.
perfect. And that's good. So, let's future gaze for a little bit because I do know you are passionate about roadmap. So, what do you think it will become in the next 5 years, especially in the
Mhm.
context of AI? Because I see you have like an AI feature.
Yeah, AI. AI stuff. What do you mean in terms of content, like integrating AI into the roadmap? You mean,
Yeah,
or
like how is it going to affect the future of roadmap in how you build, how you give the service, or how people use it? Yeah, all together.
AI? As developers, we're using it to make sure that we're building the right
Mm,
features and so on. Copilot and all the stuff. AI
mhm,
impact on the content. We'll be adding more features that are going to make roadmap. Users' life even more easier. So, for example, one of the things that we have planned is that, like, let's say that you click a roadmap topic, a pop-up appears, right? So, integrating
mhm,
more AI into this, so you don't maybe you don't need to even leave the website to learn from the external resources.
mm,
You have a chatbot kind of a view. You learn all of it from here. So, one thing, team features we're also thinking of improving a lot. So in 5 years, we have a lot more AI integration into the product. We're not using AI in the content, but just to make the
mm,
user's life easier. For example,
mm,
ranking of users or suggesting based on the user
mm.
profile, like what are the things
Cool.
that you should learn. Maybe we'll have a
Mhm.
job portal, for example, and then when someone
Yeah.
says that I'm looking for a developer
Mhm.
who knows about this as this, like maybe using AI to come up with the suggestions for people who are like open for hire and so on. So AI mostly will be used in the in this features kind of stuff, but not the content. Content will is and will always be like all human generated with the help of subject matter experts, and it will always be.
Mm.
In 5 years, I
Perfect.
think right now we are at the we have at 1.25 million weekly monthly users. So in five
Mhm.
years, we want to be at least 10 million.
Woo! I love the goal. We're gonna check back in 5 years if you surpass that.
Sounds
I
good,
think
bro.
you're gonna surpass that goal. I think you're really gonna because more people are gonna be learning how to. Especially, I feel AI enables builders to build more, so more people are gonna be learning how to code. And when they come to use Roadmap, definitely it's an easy sell because it's superb, it's good, and of course you have AI there enriching their experience. So you're gonna surpass it. So yeah, that this was fun. This was really, really fun. Is there any other thing you'd want us to touch about in like the business side before we wind down? Or
What is
anything
it
at
again,
all?
sorry?
Like is there any other thing I should have asked you that you want to talk about before we wind down? To my
No, I think
rapid
all good.
fire
If any
questions.
beginners, because most of the people who know me are mostly beginners. So one advice that I would always give to everyone is stop thinking, just start building. Like pick up a topic, like let's
Mm-hmm.
say that pick a field, start learning about this field and start building. Always
Mm-hmm.
have a side project. I keep shouting about this. Always have a side project and you will
Yeah.
learn a lot. Don't be bound by the job or by the goals that you have from the
Mm,
employer side. Try to build up your own goals and try to build up your own side projects. And don't
yeah.
attach yourself. If you can afford, don't think about money at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like build the projects and then make sure that you build something that people like and they want to use, and then everything will just fall into place. And roadmap grew from there. Like it used to be like a simple side project on GitHub. I don't have any idea how I'm going to make money from it. For example, I did not know like if it is going to be a website. So it doesn't, like what you start with, it doesn't have to be same in the next 5 or 6 years. Roadmap got
Mm-hmm.
acquired, like I got the investment after 8 years. So if you see the
Mm,
potential, if you see a right product, don't think about the money,
yeah.
just keep building on it, and eventually everything you will get the idea as you continue.
Mm, yeah. Um, one of my favorite podcasts to listen to is Founders, and there's this constant idea of good things take time, and you just have to optimize to stay in the game because you don't know when it's going to yield fruit. Like 8 years later, like you wouldn't have expected that this thing is something that like someone's going to invest in and it's going to be like this thing you're going to do full time. But so far you're liking it and you find a way to keep playing the game. Luck will happen, but luck happens as a result of your persistency and you just being consistent as well. So you being persistent,
But
you being
yeah,
consistent, and just stay with it. Go on.
one thing to add to that is don't pick up. I mean, this is good. Like, let's say that I pick up a random project and I keep working on 8 years. This is also foolish for me. For example, if I'm not seeing any potential in there, it doesn't make
Yeah,
sense
of
to just keep.
course.
I know a friend who's working on something. I wouldn't name him, but he has been working on something for the past 3 years. He had a
Hmm.
project, and I was asking him like, why are you keep why do you keep, like, he doesn't even have a single, like, maybe one customer. He doesn't have
Oh.
anyone, and he kept working on this, and he has been spending a lot of money on this project and so on. But still, same. So be mindful of, like, if it is,
Hmm.
maybe there is a time to just stop it. Like, maybe you don't need to
Yeah.
continue. Let's think about this also as well. Is it the right
That
thing? Should you be continuing this?
yeah, that's true. That is also the tricky part because I feel like you probably would have this gut feeling as you go. But sometimes, as builders, we are emotionally attached to what we build. It's like our
Certainly, yeah,
baby. Like, I don't want to kill my baby, right? So you want to just keep doing it. But it's hard. But I feel it's sometimes most people pivot.
yeah,
Like I was um talking to the CEO of a company that I knew back in 2021 when they started. I was one of their earliest customers. But now, 3 years after, they've made a sweet pivot because at the time, what they were doing was good, but it probably wasn't as viable a business as what they're currently doing now because they were
yeah,
able to like pivot from the original idea to something really better. So
yeah.
you just have to get that feedback. It's really hard because of you're
And
attached to the thing you're building. It's hard.
And again, like, especially for the beginners, I mean, if you're starting with the idea of starting a startup, then it's a bit different.
Mhm.
Like, you're
Yeah.
investing fully onto the idea and so on. But if you're a
Hmm.
beginner or intermediate developer that is trying, like, let's say that you have a full-time job and you want to do something as a passive income or something, so if
Hmm.
you're aiming for just passive income, not focusing on a full startup, so my recommendation would be don't pick up a super big idea. So if I
Yeah.
tell you about myself, like, I would not pick up anything that takes me more than a few weeks, like 2 to 3 weeks. If I can do it in this much time, I will do it. Like, if you can launch the
Hmm.
MVP in this time, that is usable as well. MVP does not
Hmm.
mean like something super basic. I mean, something that can be used as well. If you can do it, like, if I can do it in two three
Yeah.
weeks, I will do it. Otherwise, I'll just not do it. So keep that in mind
Hmm.
also. Pick small ideas that can give you like early feedback, and then move from there.
Yeah. So on the topic of MVP, like there's this other acronym that is because in our space people use MVP a lot, and sometimes MVPs are not usable at all. Buggy, it sucks. It doesn't even get the happy path done. So they say like your MVP should be SLC, which is simple, lovable, and complete.
Yeah,
And I feel like that's it doesn't have to be like like the first version of Roadmap were like images, but it was still simple. People like it a lot for them to continue using it.
yeah.
And it was complete because you had the roadmap. It wasn't interactive, but you have something that is complete. So yeah, awesome. So yeah, let's get to our like top three. So I'm gonna so it's top three session where I give you a couple because of course we're not gonna do all work. You're gonna have a rhythm like of course you're gonna need time to unwind because that's when you get your brain juice. So um top threes. So in movies, what would it be?
Top three
Do
movies.
you Netflix
Yeah. So
much?
my favorite, not I don't do much, but I used to do it before.
Okay,
Pursuit of Happiness, for
okay.
example, is my favorite
Oh,
movie. So when someone asks
I
me
love
like, "What is
it.
your favorite movie?" I would say Pursuit of Happiness. There's
Yeah.
one. I mean, the next is, I won't say. I mean, I'm not sure. Like, I don't have any favorites. It's like whenever someone asks me like, "What is your favorite movie?" I have a hard time. Like, that's why I have picked up Pursuit of Happiness. I would just give them go and watch this. So,
Yeah.
but one TV series
Okay.
that I've recently watched and liked is The Dark Matter. It's from
Oh,
Apple TV. So
yeah. I
this was
think I
quite
saw
nice.
it a little.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
this
saw
was
it a
nice.
little
And
bit.
yeah, I think I don't have a third one. Source Code maybe.
Okay.
Source Code
So
is a good
Scott,
movie as well.
I haven't seen that one. Now I should go say it. So books, top three.
Books.
Mm,
So designing data intensive applications. This technical book,
mm,
Martin Kleppman.
okay.
So this is like
Yeah.
one of my favorite books. Other books. Let me think about it. I have a lot of them here.
Mm-hmm.
Where is it?
Yeah, I
There
could
is one
see
I
the
forgot the
shelf.
name of.
Okay.
Scott Adams. Yeah, this one. Yeah, Scott Adams. How to fail at everything and still be successful. So this
I
is
like
quite
that.
nice.
I
He
like.
actually talks about his story, like how
Mm-hmm.
he was meant to be unsuccessful, but how he got to successful. So it's more of like a biography kind of book. So these
Mm-hmm.
two, I would say, like in technical This one and not
Okay.
technical, this one and the technical one, the design data intensive application.
Yeah. I actually have a copy of the first book, Design Data Intensive Application. I haven't started it, but I've heard good things. I actually had great reviews on Amazon when I got it. So yeah, thank you. So podcast, do you listen to podcasts? Do you have a top 3 podcast?
Yeah, Masters of Scale is one. Master of Scale,
Mm-hmm.
this is by the LinkedIn founder. This is
Okay.
one. The other one that I listen to is, Syntax FM,
Mm.
Syntax.fm by Wes Boss
Love it,
and
West Boss. Yeah.
yeah, this, and then I think, yeah, that's it. I don't get much time these days. Before, like, I used to
Mm-hmm.
drive. Like, now I'm working from home. Whenever I was driving, I would just
Yeah.
put it on and then listen to it. But now with work, I don't get the time to listen too much. But yeah, these two.
Awesome. Yeah, awesome. I would suggest one I think you'd love, Founders.
What is it? Founders?
Founders. That's just the title, Founders. Yeah. Founders, you'd love it. What he does is he reads biographies of successful people, which we call founders, and just talk about it for like an hour. They are really, really, really good. So ranging from people like Steve Jobs to Mozart,
Mm.
right? So it's superb. I'm pretty sure you'd love it. So just
You
give
should
it a
try
try.
Masters of Scale. Have you listened to Masters of Scale?
No, I'm gonna check
So this is quite
Masters
nice.
of
Like,
Skills.
it's super polished. I think it's similar to that one, the one that you shared. So he, for example, shared a
Right?
story of how Mailchimp got to where it is today. So similar
Mm-hmm.
kind of stories, but his stories are also like with proper music and proper like a
Oh,
story based kind of podcast.
Masters of
It's super nice.
Skill. Yeah, I've seen
Yeah.
it. Wait, what? Right? Uh,
What is it?
Um, I think that it's a Master of Skill. Yeah, it's a green background cover, right? Master of Skill
Just a second. It's
with Reid Hoffman. Is it the one?
yeah, Reed Hoppin, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's one.
Okay, cool. Yeah, definitely gonna just follow them. Thank you for the recommendation. So yeah, this has been fun, Cameron. I really love this. I think you've already given your top advice for entrepreneurs. There's no need for us to go there. You already gave us, and it was superb advice. I love it. So thank you. So where can one go to follow you? So I guess it should be X or Twitter. Anywhere else you like to hang out? I know you have a very thriving YouTube channel with over with over 200,000 subscribers. So they could also go
Twitter
check
is
that out, right?
the mainly place like where I have most of the conversation. Twitter.
Yeah.
Find me on Twitter or
Mm.
Discord. Join our Discord. I'm also hanging out there from time to time. But
Okay.
Twitter and Discord, I would say.
Yeah, awesome. I will definitely share those links. So thank you so much. This was superb. Thank you for being guest number 2.
Thank you for having me, Kelvin.